Hello everyone and welcome to Edge Online number 2! Yeah! 2 like
2 people. 2 like
2 dumpsters! Yeah!
Dude, get out of my dumpster.
Get out of my dumpster. You get out of the dumpster! 2 like 2 nostrils. Gross. Today for Edge Online, I'm asking you a question, and it's an important question because it has to do with you, and if you take it seriously, it actually matters. The question is, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be human?
So up first, we are going to be hearing from the most profound theologian, a philosopher who truly knows what it means to be human. I mean, he's got probably a doctorate degree on just what it takes to survive in the world as a human being. So let's see what he has to say.
I'm Bruce Bungalow, and today I'm going to teach you how to survive in the wilderness for 2 hours-ish. Whenever you get into a survival situation, hopefully you've prepared, but most of the time you haven't prepared because you're trying to survive. But today we prepared, and we brought one thing to help us, and that is a knife. You need a knife. It will help you to survive. When you survive, food is of utmost importance, and sometimes you can use like a fishing rod to catch fish, but we don't have time for a fishing rod. We only have time to survive. And so we're going to use our one item, which is our knife, to fasten this stick into a spear, and we're going to spear some fish. Once you've fastened your spear, then you want to make sure that you find a fish village, also known as water. That's where you'll find fish. Dang it, our spear broke. Survival. This is how you make fire. In order to make fire, you want to get 2 sticks. Doesn't matter the size sticks, but you need 2 of them. What you do is you take your 2 sticks and you create friction. Friction creates heat. Heat creates embers, and embers create fire. Just like fishing, you gotta have patience. When you have to poop, hold it. If you can't hold it, hold it. Animals are scary. If you see an animal, don't be scared. We said at the beginning that a knife is an essential item for survival. But what do you do if you don't have a knife? It's okay. Just find the jawbone of a dead deer. Water is very important. You need to make sure that you have water. If you don't have water, you will die. Yeah. No. That was gross. I think I'm gonna get sick. This has been Surviving Tips. I'm Brad Bungalow. See you next time. Okay, we're done. They know how to survive now.
This week's fun facts are brought to you by the seminarians for the Diocese of Pittsburgh. What's a seminarian? Well, it's a priest training camp where people go to figure out if they want to be priests. And we have a real priest with us right now. Father Chris, do you like being a priest?
Yeah, I really like it. I do.
So what's your favorite thing about it?
Just being a priest for God and for His people. I really have to do a lot of that right now.
What's your favorite color?
Red. I don't.
Do priests wear socks?
Yes, yes, we do. We put them both on one foot at a time.
Do all priests wear glasses?
Yes, eventually, because we all have to.
Are you allowed to wear hoodies?
Nick, I really have a lot of work to do.
All right. Thanks, Father Chris.
Catholic Fun Facts with Seminarians at Franciscan.
Fun fact, the Big Bang Theory was first posited by George Lemaitre, a Catholic priest.
Let's go into dinner.
Did you know that the Catholic Church used to help fishermen by encouraging people to eat fish on Fridays? That's why we abstain from meat.
Catholic Fun Facts with Seminarians at dinner.
Did you know that at the Council of Nicaea, St. Nicholas, aka Santa Claus, punched the heretic Arian in the face?
More Catholic Fun Facts with Seminarians playing pool.
So there's a chapel made of bones and located in the Czech Republic called the Sedlec Ossuary. It is made out of 40 to 70,000 bones, and it's run by the Capuchins, whose motto is Memento Mori, which means remember your death, and the response is for it comes sooner than you think.
Did you know that whenever someone is baptized, their soul goes through an ontological change in such case that they're able to be considered sons or daughters of God because we partake in God's divinity? More fun facts with Seminarians in the rec room.
Did you know, in his last year of life, St. John Vianney heard 80,000 confessions?
The Catholic Church is the largest charitable organization in the United States.
Who knew that seminarians knew so much about their Catholic faith? Huh. Anyway, I got a few more for you that are some of my favorites right now. Did you know the only Christian church that existed for the first 1,000 years of Christianity was the Roman Catholic Church? And all other Christian denominations that exist today can trace themselves back, their roots, back to the Roman Catholic Church itself. And most non-Catholic denominations which exist today are less than a century or two old. In the Catholic Church itself, that consists of more than just the Roman Catholic denomination, there are 22 Eastern rites that are in full communion with Rome. And although they go by different names, each one of them is just as much a part of the Catholic faith. I have two more for you. This next one I like a lot. The Catholic Church spends more money every year than Apple brings in. Expenditures by the Catholic Church, which are mostly for charity, exceeded $170 billion in 2012, and that's by The Economist magazine. In that same year, Apple took in $157 billion. The Catholic Church spends more money on charity than we do on iPhones. Love it. Last one. The Pope is protected by the Swiss Papal Guard. You may have known that, right? And they wear uniforms that were designed by Michelangelo, and they're commonly armed with pretty heavy artillery. Didn't know that, did you? Each member has to be Catholic, they have to be male, they have to be Swiss, and they must complete extensive military training in Switzerland. Oh, and by the way, they have to all be moral, ethical, have good conduct, and be at least 5 foot 8 inches tall. And those who are chosen, they're granted a private audience with the Pope, with them and their families. And in extreme instances, they are expected to guard the Holy Father with their lives. So, if you want to be part of the Swiss Papal Guard, go to Switzerland, get some military training, be 5 foot 8 inches tall, and be prepared to die.
It turns out that Don the Demon Slayer Ruby from St. Catherine's and St. Richard's knows more than just a little bit about Catholic fun facts. He's going to give us our talk about what it means to be human. Pay attention. I think you're going to like it.
So last time we were together, Taylor talked to you about God's greatest invention or creation, right, which is human beings. I want to continue that conversation today, but maybe in a little bit different way and maybe in a little bit deeper way. So right now I'm holding in my hand, a phone, right? So this phone in itself, without any power to it, has a cover on it, an OtterBox, so it doesn't break, right? A screensaver to save and protect the screen, right? Inside here, there's probably some sort of hard drive, if you would, something that makes this thing work. And there's other connections and things in here that allow it to communicate with satellites, right? And to bring internet into us, to do a lot of things that maybe it wouldn't do otherwise. But right now, it's not on, right? And without that power source, without it being turned on, it's nothing but a bunch of parts, right? But as soon as this thing is turned on, how does things change, right? I can check on this thing one of 4 different email accounts that I have. Right? I can go out here and I can order some things from Nike, from Adidas, because I have apps for both of those. I can make dinner reservations. Oh wait, I can check different bank accounts on here while I'm at it also. Oh, if I wanted, I can check all the sports scores from today. Are there any sports scores today? I don't remember. Oh yeah, there's football. It's back. But all of these things that can be done on this phone, but it requires the power source for it to happen, right? Without the power source, it's nothing. What other things do we have in our lives that require power? I'm taping this right now on a phone. Without the power, I couldn't do that. I have a laptop on which I probably wrote down the notes for this talk. Without a power source, I couldn't use it. Out in the parking lot right now is my car. Without a power source in there, a battery, it's not going to start for me. If I had a Tesla, which I don't, it wouldn't work at all without a battery, right? So think about that. So these objects are inanimate objects that have a life and a power source, if you will, that brings them to life. But without that power source, they're nothing. And when you think about animate versus inanimate objects, there's a lot of differences, right? Inanimate objects are things, again, that require a power source. Living things, cats, dogs, plants, people, right? We do not require that power source because we are alive. And what does that mean? It means that we can grow, we can reproduce, right? We can adapt to our societies, and eventually we're going to die. Right? And humans are exactly the same as all the other living things, right? We can grow, we can adapt, we can reproduce, and someday we are going to die, but there's one thing that sets us apart from every other one of God's creations. And what is that? Our power source, which happens to be our soul, right? I want to read to you from Genesis 1:26. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on earth." Again, let us make man in our image and give him dominion over everything, right? In the story of creation, God is very specific, and we are made in his likeness. Right? And we're different than the rest of every living creatures, and he sets us apart to have dominion and kind of rule over the other living creatures, if you would. Think about that. Now, the other part of this, though, too, is that our body and our souls are not separable, right? They are one, and that's what makes us who we are. The word soul itself refers to human life or the entire human person, and that's the part that's most in the image and likeness of God. I would tell you to think about it this way. So we know that as humans, we think that this person is made in his image. But what if it's our soul that's made in his image? Our bodies are going to die and remain here on earth. Our soul is going to go to heaven, right, and be with God forever. So I'm betting that it's our soul that really is in his likeness and image. Think about that for a minute. There are physical attributes that we all have, right? We look more like our mom or our dad. You know, we have physical things about us that look more like one or the other. My son, if he talks and moves, his actions are a lot like mine. You can tell that we are related. But those things come from your parents. The soul itself is put in you at the time of conception, created by God, right? And it will not change throughout your entire lifetime, while everything physically will. And that internal component that we have, that soul, right, and that ability to have dominion over all the earth, we have to take care of all that stuff, right? God gave us the earth to have dominion over, to use for food, to use for pleasure, to enjoy its beauty, to give glory to God for all of the amazing things that he's given us. But if we don't care for that and we destroy that, right, we are not doing what God intended for us to do. Now, there's one more important part about that, which I find to be the most important part of this is all. We have to take care of our bodies because the bodies will help take care of the soul. But we also have to take care of each other. God calls us as human beings to take care of each other as well as all living creatures. What does that mean? We should love each other, not just physically, right? And especially not physically, but emotionally and spiritually and mentally. Because I will tell you, the things that attract us to other people that we fall in love with is the soul. It's not the body, right? It's the soul. It's the personality. It's all the things inside that person that make them who they are that we fall in love with. Right? And as we stand apart from all of other creation, we're given this responsibility. I know people think that responsibility is a bunch of junk, right? I don't want more responsibility. I want my life to be free. I want to do whatever I want. Now you're saying I have to follow the 10 Commandments and now be responsible for all the things around me? Sure. Right? That's part of who we are. It's part of us taking care of God's creation. And while all this is good, right, and we know we have to care for all of this stuff, I mean, it's because of God's goodness. I'm going to read one more quote for you. This is from Corinthians 1:6, 19, and 20. "Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own? You have been bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body." Glorify God in everything that you do. Right? That's what this is all about, to glorify God in everything that we do. And it's so important that we live for him. right? And we do for him, and we offer all of that back to him and how we take care of each other and how we take care of this world. This soul is our power supply, right? And this soul is going to last forever. But what kind of life are we going to live? Is this soul going to reside with us forever with the glory of God in heaven? Or is this soul going to end up in another location at the time of our death because we didn't live the way God had intended for us to do? I'm going to tell you, remember this, that you are created in God's likeness. You are created to be very good. You're created in his image. He has set us apart, right? And you are far more than what anybody tells you that you are, right? The only thing that matters is what God thinks you are and what God has put you on the face of this earth for. We'll see you soon.